Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video I would like to continue my previous video entitled UN Permanent Court of Arbitration or PCA ruling on South China Sea. With respect to jurisdiction, the Philippines has asked the tribunal to declare that the Philippines has claims are entirely within its jurisdiction and are fully admissible. China does not accept and is not participating in this arbitration, but states its position that the tribunal does not have jurisdiction over this case. In its position paper, China advanced the following argument. The essence of the subject matters of the arbitration is the territorial sovereignty over several maritime features in the South China Sea, which is beyond the scope of the conventions and does not concern the interpretation or application of the convention. China and the Philippines have agreed through bilateral instrument and the declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea to settle their relevant dispute through negotiation. By unilaterally initiating the present arbitration, the Philippines has breached its obligation under international law. Even assuming argument that the subject matters of the arbitration were concerned with the interpretation of application of the convention, that subject matter would constitute an integral part of maritime delimitation between the two countries, thus falling within the scope of the declaration filed by China in 2006 in accordance with the convention, which exclude inter alia disputes concerning maritime delimitation from compulsory arbitration and other compulsory dispute settlement procedures. Although China has not made equivalent public statement with respect to the merits of the majority of the Philippine claims, the tribunal has sought throughout the proceeding to ascertain China's position on the basis of its contemporaneous public statement and diplomatic correspondence. 3. The tribunal's decisions on the scope of its jurisdiction. The tribunal has addressed the scope of its jurisdiction to consider the Philippines' claim both in a word on jurisdiction to the extent the issues of jurisdiction could be decided as a preliminary matter, and it is award and in its award 12 July 2016 to the extent the issue of jurisdiction were intertwined with the merits of the Philippine claims. The tribunal awards of 12 July 2016 also incorporate and affirms that the decision on jurisdiction taken in the award on jurisdiction. For completeness, the tribunal decision on jurisdiction in both awards are summarized here together. A. Preliminary matters. In its award on jurisdiction, the tribunal considered a number of preliminary matters with respect to its jurisdiction. The tribunal noted that both the Philippines and China are parties to the conventions and that the conventions does not permit a state to exempt itself generally from the mechanism for the resolution of disputes set out in the convention. The tribunal held that China non-participation does not deprive the tribunal of jurisdiction and that the tribunal had been properly constituted pursuant to the provision of Annex 7 to the conventions, which include a procedure to form a tribunal even in the absence of one party. Finally, the tribunal rejected an argument set out in China's position paper and held that the mere act of unilaterally initiating an arbitration cannot constitute an abuse of the convention. P. Existence of a dispute concerning interpretation and application of the Convention. In its award on jurisdiction, the Tribunal considered whether the parties' dispute concerned the interpretation of or applications of the Convention, which is requirement for resort to dispute settlement mechanism of the Convention. The Tribunal rejected the argument set out in China's position paper that the parties' dispute is actually about territorial sovereignty and therefore not a matter concerning to the Convention. The Tribunal accepted that there is a dispute between the parties concerning sovereignty over island in the South China Sea, but held that the matters submitted to arbitration by the Philippines do not concern sovereignty. The Tribunal considered that it would not seek to implicitly decide sovereignty to address the Philippines submission, and that doing so would not advance the sovereignty claims of either party to island in the South China Sea. The Tribunal also rejected the argument set out in China's position paper that the parties' dispute is actually about maritime boundary delimitation and therefore excluded from dispute settlement by Article 298 of the Conventions and Declaration that China made on 25 August 2006 pursuant to that article. The Tribunal noted that the dispute concerning whether a state has entitlement to a maritime zone is a distinct matter from the delimitation of maritime zone in an area in which they overlap. The Tribunal noted that entitlement, together with a wide variety of other issues, are commonly considered in the boundary delimitation, but can also arise in other contexts. The Tribunal held that it does not follow that a dispute over each of these issues is necessarily a dispute over boundary delimitation. Finally, the Tribunal held that each of the Philippine submissions reflected a dispute concerning the Convention. In doing so, the Tribunal emphasized a. That a dispute concerning the interaction between the Convention and other rights, including any Chinese historic right, is a dispute concerning to the Conventions, and b. that where China has not clearly stated its position, that existence of a dispute may be inferred from the conduct of a state or from silence, and it's a matter to be determined objectively. C. Involvement of indispensable third parties. In its award on jurisdiction, the Tribunal considered whether the absence from the arbitration of other states that have made claims to the island of the South China Sea would be a part to the Tribunal's jurisdiction. The Tribunal noted that the right of other states would not form the very subject matter of the decision, the standard for a third party to be indispensable. The Tribunal further noted that in December 2014, Vietnam had submitted a statement to the Tribunal, in which Vietnam asserted that it has no doubt that the Tribunal has jurisdiction in these proceedings. The Tribunal also noted that the Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia had attended an hearing on jurisdiction and observers, without any state raising the argument that its participation was indispensable. In its award on 12 July 2016, the Tribunal noted that it had received a communication from Malaysia on 23 June 2016 recalling Malaysia's claim in the South China Sea. The Tribunal compared its decision on the merits of the Philippines submissions with the right claimed by Malaysia, and affirmed its decision that Malaysia is not an indispensable party and that Malaysia's interests in the South China Sea do not prevent the Tribunal from addressing the Philippine submission. So the time is up. and the article will be continued to read on the next video. So bye bye, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.